Okay, it says recording. Well, it says stop recording, and it's a red flashing button. So are you recording it, or was I? I don't know what that means.
I'm not. It's recording.
So did I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have 5:59. You want to just go ahead and start?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm going to take off my glasses so I can talk to everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2016. I didn't get to see how many people we have on right now. I think people are still jumping on. Diamond Ambassador Helen McFadden. I'm here with my power partner in crime, my BFF, Sonia Dudley, Diamond Ambassador. And we're super excited to resume our awesome class that we're doing, and this book has just been so valuable. I love getting all the feedback and the graphics everybody's sharing about the importance of what we're saying to ourselves and to others, and just the whole experience of discovering how our words really are everything, the power that they have to either bring life or to bring death. And of course, we want to bring life to our Plexus business and to our family and our friends and just our whole overall well-being. We want to just improve and change our self-talk to the point where it just becomes a habit. So these chapters that we're going to cover tonight are really exciting because we're really starting to get into more of the how-to of the whole self-talk. But I just wanted to just take this opportunity to just say, what a great time of year to be doing this class. With the brand new year, it's a clean slate for all of us. I hope all of you have refined your Plexus goals and just are so pumped about what's in store for us and the tools we have through this book to make this our year, a game-changing year. And I wanted to say too, I was noticing how, we started off with like 100 and I don't know, we were like getting up to 200 people in this class. And we've definitely dropped in numbers as far as just people who are viewing the posts and checking in, and the people who are on our live Zooms. And we know that there's a lot of people who watch the recording and everything. But what I just really wanted to challenge everybody is that don't be the person who drops out. Don't be the person who allows the self-talk, because that's what it is. It's fear. It's, that we're going to cover tonight, the whole, how life just gets in the way, and why should the most important thing that we know that can be the game changer for ourselves and our future be the thing we put on the back burner because we get caught up in the day-to-day routines of life. So I just want to applaud all the people who are still with us, who have chosen to make this a top priority for you and your business and your families and yourself and everything. It's going to just have the ripple effect that we don't even know yet what it's going to be. And that's the exciting part, the faith of just knowing what we're doing now is going to make a difference, not just in our lives, but thousands of other lives as we pursue our business and apply all these. So just applaud all of you, and we're just having a blast with this. So I'm going to turn it over now to Sonia, and we're going to go back and forth as we usually do tonight.
Thank you, Helen. And I want to say, and I agree with you, I want to say, it's really, I think that the more and more I read this book, it just really clarifies more and more that we make it so hard. We make this so hard when really this book makes it seem like, if we just reprogram, and I loved, and we'll get into this here in a minute, but where it just talked about we don't even have to be conscious of what we're hearing when we reprogram it. If we're listening to the tape that we recorded or the voice recorder in the background, it doesn't even have to be heard consciously. We can be talking to somebody, we can be cooking, we can be doing other things. It's the subconscious. So I just think it's really, really profound how simple it could be. And no one thinks of it being simple because we work so hard our entire lives trying to figure out this battle going on within. And to me, it's like, okay, stop, to myself, stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure it out. Quit questioning it. Quit, battling, and just trust that if you make some affirmations, you reprogram the computer, it's going to work out. Just trust that. So that's my challenge is, will you trust the system on this? Will you, even if you doubt it, even if you're doubting right now, okay, just stop it and just go, you know what? Who cares? I've been struggling with all these battles for years. I'm just going to trust that if I do this for 3 to 4 weeks, that everything's going to work out. Just trust that. Just trust it. That's my challenge to you. So we're going to start off with, excuse me, just a second. I have to let my dog out the door because he's going to bark if I don't. Go. You're not coming back in. Go. All right. Children. My goodness. Okay. So we're going to talk about, in chapter 11, we are going to talk about the motivation myth. I love this because I believe in this so much. I say at a lot of my John Maxwell trainings, I'll say to people will go and attend things over and over, and they're looking for that external motivation. And until people change within, you're pretty much wasting your time. It's temporary. It's short-lived. And I love what it says. He talked about, how all these companies spend millions, billions of dollars hiring speakers, doing these pep rally talks. And then on page, let's see, well, I don't know what page it was, but he talked about how, when the speaker goes home, right here, the inspiration they felt so strongly during the message is no longer there. When Les Brown spoke at convention, seriously, people were moved beyond everything. And if you were there, I know you remember. Some of you, I remember saying that changed your life. Okay, how long did it last? And the problem is, the energy and the enthusiasm which welled up inside of you is gone when the motivator leaves town. And most of the dream you had kind of went away. All that often remains is enough left over to remind you of what you could have done, but you didn't do. Guys, I lived that for 17 years and longer when I even did another company before Plexus. I lived that. That was the story of my life. I looked forward to the next convention, Helen can tell you, the next career conference, we called it seminar, the next fall retreat, because we thought we would get there what we needed. And it talks about if people would, I love this. Okay, it says, the convention hall is filled with people who, unless they first learned how to do it differently, if they didn't learn what we're learning right now, like I never did, we took the old computer system into the motivational message. We're sitting there with our old garbage trying to take in all this new. But see, when the speaker left, our old, deep-rooted years of programming overrode that 2-hour motivational external message. Are you with me? So if it's done different, it says it takes more than an hour or two to override the old programming and replace it with the new. If it were done different, it would make more sense. So it says on page 95, I underlined where he talks about managing others. Corporate executives and training directors should take note. If you've ever wondered why your own motivational programs must be repeated or reinforced so frequently, it's because in the human brain, it is physiologically impossible for momentary external motivation to create permanent change. So everything has to be done in the opposite of what people do. It's like motivation does not create action. Action creates motivation. Well, your thoughts create your actions. So what every day, what are your thoughts? That is, of course, designed by your programming. And so that's why I think this book is the most crucial book I've ever read on understanding all this. So, Helen, that's basically you need to be your own internal coach. The only kind of motivation you can count on is internal. So that's kind of all I wanted to say about that. There's so much to say in the other chapters. So anything you want to add to that before you take over?
No, I just, we say the only person who'll never leave you is you. So you might as well love yourself and say nice things to yourself and rely on yourself, and that's the beauty of the business we're in, that, if it is to be, it's up to me. And there's so much behind that. There's so much meaning behind that. And this is exactly what, one of a huge component of why that's so critical to understand. We can't rely on anyone but us. So we might as well feed ourselves and learn to get this whole thing right. These 6 inches up here and what we're saying and thinking. Yeah. And so it's just so powerful. And and nobody can dispute it. No, but it's not like this is the theory or, that we, like, I don't know what chapter it was he talked about. Athletes, like anybody who's achieved anything great in life, do you think that they're telling themselves that they can't do it? Or it takes a village, and it's great to have people around you, of course. But, it all starts with us and all those decisions we make daily on who we're going to surround ourselves with and what we're going to say. And it's just, it's so powerful. I love it. Well, we're going to kind of skip 12. Huh?
I was just saying, it's just that choice every day, that choice.
Exactly. So 12, talks a little bit about the hypnosis and that. We're just going to skip that because we have so much to cover. Really, in chapter 14 is the meat of really what we're going to talk about tonight. But what I did pick up from that chapter that I just wanted to mention is personal responsibility. And he talks about that, and we need to own all that ourselves, and everything that we're going to do and apply, it's up to us. We can't rely on subconscious all the time. It's like we have to create that and take this all as our own, responsibility, and that we are going to do this. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. And then chapter 13, I just wanted to cover briefly about keeping it simple, and how, he talked about the time involved. And even though it's not a lot of time that we need to take, obviously it needs to become like all the way we think every day. That's what the time it's going to take. But to program and start things, like he talked about, something he just thought he could handle was 20 minutes a night, going over his goals and those kind of things. And even just that was difficult. And so we have to just take that into account, that self-improvement is the most important thing, but it ends up taking a backseat to life and the day-to-day routine of all the chores and just life. It's draining. If at the end of the day we're supposed to work on something so important and we have no more energy left, it's going to fall to the wayside. And that's what that chapter was really about, was the competition of daily living, and how, yes, this is important, but we have to be realistic. And I think all of us have set goals, and I'm going to do this. And that's what, New Year's resolutions are so silly. It's like, if you ask anybody in January or in July, what was your New Year's resolution 6 months ago? People don't remember. This has to be a life change. This has to be something that we decide. This is not a resolution. This is going to be my new way of thinking, my new languaging, everything, forever and ever and ever. And all the goals will happen, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit. So that's kind of leading into then the techniques. Let's see, what did I highlight? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything in this chapter about competing. Yeah, for any self-improvement concept to be successful, it has to be simple. It has to be easy to use. And when put into practice, it has to work. So I'm going to go over a couple of the techniques that he talks about in chapter 14. And I think this is where we really start to understand technique and how we can apply this to all make sense for ourselves in our lives. So the first one is silent self-talk, because there's going to be different ways about your self-talk that you're going to apply. Some will probably come easier to you, and some, maybe a little bit more difficult, but there's many, many ways to go about this. So the self-talk, as far as silent self-talk, are just things that you say into your head. It includes anything and everything you think about yourself or anything else around you. It's that subtle shift in your attitude from ever again looking at things in a negative way to looking at everything in a more positive, productive way. And so instead of waking up in the morning and telling yourself, I wish I didn't have to go get out of bed, you can, and this is actually part of our perfect plexus day, is that, this is part of your assignment, is that you wake up with gratitude. This is going to be a great day. It starts off the day right, and, it brings life into your day. And so this is really important, just things that you're going to tell yourself in your head. So silent self-talk. And he said, try it for a day or two and see what happens. And, that can be a test for, tomorrow's Monday. For those of you who are working a job and you want to make Plexus your full-time gig and you're dreading your job. Well, your job's going to happen tomorrow no matter what. So how are you going to wake up and, open your eyes, and what are you going to think about and say to yourself? And so just start really making that a habit, because I just believe so much in starting your day off right. It sets the tone for the rest of the day. Let's see, I wanted to just see what else I highlighted. Even within a day or two, you'll start to notice everything you've been saying to yourself that could work against you. See, this is where you want to start noticing what you're thinking about all day long in my head. What is this little spinner going round and round? What's it saying to myself? Is it positive or negative? And remember, it's either one or the other. There is no gray area. There are two sides of the same coin. So start thinking, is this serving me in my life and breathing life into my goals and my dreams and just who I am? Or is this negative? And if it's negative, then recognize it. This is where it's going to be really critical for you. And I think we probably have obviously more inner thoughts than verbal thoughts throughout the day. So this is a pretty important component to it. As you get started during each day, listen to everything you say when you talk to yourself. Make a mental note of anything you think or say to yourself that sounds like the wrong kind of self-talk, and immediately turn it around and replace it with a positive. I just can't seem to get organized today. Say, I'm organized, in control today, especially. When you hear yourself saying something like, I really got a problem with this, turn it around and say, I can handle this. I'm a capable person and I can handle problems well. Just even saying it, you just feel so much better. Telling yourself you're tired at that time of day when you can't afford to be tired, immediately tell yourself you have plenty of energy and enthusiasm.
Hey.
Think of a time when you feel,
Never mind. You go ahead.
Okay. Think of a time when you feel like you don't want to even get up out of the chair. It's been a long day. You worked hard and you're physically and mentally exhausted. Then the phone rings and it's just the right call at the right moment, calling with good news. Some important person in the world to you. What suddenly happens to your energy? We all know that feeling, right? All of a sudden you have adrenaline and you get back to life instantly. Has anything changed? No, it's just the signals that you're telling yourself in your head that this, all of a sudden, this is important to me, so I can find the energy within. This is really powerful stuff. So many of the messages you give yourself through your silent self-talk may not be as obvious, but the brain responds just as immediately and produces results, whether they're noticed or not. They're that powerful. All right, so then moving on. Were you going to say something, Sonia?
No, I'll say it whenever I start my part.
Did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I was going to give an example of, there's been times when
All right, so
I'll do it when I start. Sorry, there's a delay there. Sorry about that.
Okay. You know what I'm drinking right now for energy tonight is a Second Slim. It's more. I drink it warm, like in the winter. It's like my tea, my happy tea. Okay, so the self-speak is anything you say out loud to yourself or to someone else about yourself or about anything else is part of your self-talk. What you say when you are speaking makes up an important part of the pictures and directions you are feeding into your subconscious mind. So think about this. We make hundreds of comments or statements in any given day. It might not seem all that important to phrase each of the many things you say in some positive way, but consider that each of those statements is a directive of your subconscious mind. Now add up those comments and statements over a week, a month, or a year. So your daily comments and statements, start adding them up. They add up to tens of thousands of minor but very important subconscious self-directives. They're important, all right. They have a whole lot to do with what you accomplish, how you feel, and who you become. So every single thing you are saying, whatever comment, I'm tired, I just don't have the energy, I'm broke, I'm always hungry, I crave sugar, I don't like my husband, my kids are driving me nuts, my in-laws drive me insane, I wish I had a different personality, I wish I was prettier, I wish I was outgoing, I wish my Plexus business would ever get off the ground, nobody wants to buy. I mean, really think about this. And this is something Sonia and I as leaders, not obviously not all from one person, but we'll hear this over time. And so, even as leaders, like Sonia and I haven't really discussed this, but I think as we need to challenge ourselves to be stronger leaders and call people out on that. Yes. And you as going through this class can recognize in your team, when you hear this, all of you are senior goals and above. When you hear your people say this, to say, oh my gosh, cancel. You've got to get this book and realize the importance of that exact sentence has just brought death to your business or death to your relationship, or, it's not bringing life.
Yeah.
And so this is just, it's everything. Listen to everything you say when you speak. Do your words paint the picture for your own subconscious mind you want to be hearing? If not, change the words, rephrase them, learning to build the best in yourself by learning to give yourself a refreshing new program of self-speak. It's one of the greatest gifts you'll ever give to yourself. Once mastered, this gives me goosebumps, once mastered, it's a treasure you will never lose. If that doesn't give you chills, like at the end of this book, for us to get our master in self-talk. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I definitely do we all have the silent talk that goes on all the time. We have it that goes on all the time. The prayer that I have over this book is that when we hear, not only when we hear what you just said, we self-speak, but when we hear ourselves say those things, obviously now we're going to be able to stop. We're going to be able to recognize that we're saying it. But even my prayer is on all the silent garbage that goes on. And I have it too. We all have it. I want us to be able to recognize when we have this silent self-talk and go, wait a minute, and then speak it out loud, to replace that, because we have really got to not just reprogram, the hard drive, but all the way down the motherboard and every little detail of that computer. So on self-conversation, this is talking to yourself out loud. This is one of the easiest to use. This is what I do all the time. I talk to myself, and Helen can tell you, being my bestie for 23 years, I talk to myself all the time. I talk all day long out loud to myself. Now, I may not have for years used the right, just talk out loud about nothing, but now I want to be more purposeful about what I say out loud all day long and in the shower. So I love how he says, why not start your day out with the absolute best about yourself? He said 2 to 3 minutes a day. Starting yourself, looking in the mirror, waking up in the morning before you even get out of bed and saying, I know this is going to be the best day I've ever had. I feel so empowered and confident today. I feel like I can conquer the world. I have so much energy. I can't wait to get out of bed. Like, just say 10 statements to yourself and watch how you feel. I'm doing it in the morning. I crammed these chapters in the last 3 days, and then I reviewed them tonight before the call. And I can't wait for the morning. I have a lot of challenges for myself over the next few weeks, and one of them is not getting out of the bed until I have verbally, out loud, said affirmations to myself. It's one thing when I hear them, but I want to say them to myself out loud. So then there's self-write. Self-write, I did this one time, a long time ago. I wrote out like what I would want, I guess you'd call it your eulogy, what I would want said about me at my funeral. I did this a long time ago. And, you wouldn't have to do that, but you could certainly just write out, your statements and write out, if you're a writer, and I love to write, so you can even write it out in a story, like someone was talking about you, maybe like how it even looked 20 years from now, and they're talking about your life. So if you enjoy writing, I think it's good to do some writing. If you write out your affirmations, then you're going to go into what he calls it tape talk. Obviously, we can change that now. This book is old. It's not a cassette tape anymore. It's a voice recorder or whatever you guys have. I mean, that's what I would use as a voice recorder. But I love how he said, he writes out the affirmations, and then he recorded them on the tape. And if you turn to this was so good, to page where he talks about, page 130, 131. It took him, he wanted to lose some weight. So he wrote out his affirmations about his weight goals, okay? About he exercised, talked about his eating healthy. Let's see. He said that every morning he listened to them driving, but then he also posted them on his mirror and everywhere. But when he was getting ready for work, he would play them in the bathroom. And he said his wife was putting her makeup on, and she was listening to them. And so he lost 58 pounds in, I think he said, 10 and a half weeks. But he said what was more interesting was that his wife, who was putting her makeup on, had lost 25 pounds eavesdropping on the cassette tapes. Now, point being, if you turn to page 132, whether you believe it or not, and that's what I was saying a few minutes ago, whether you believe all this works or not, what do you have to lose by trying? You're either going to be putting garbage and negative and all your old stuff that people have given you that you don't need anymore. You're going to be keeping that, or you're going to be replacing it with what you want. So you have a choice. So just try the new and let's see what happens. On page 133, he says the end result, well, this is talking about another story, but the end result was that her self-talk had the same effect on him as it did her. And he's talking about how just her self-talk, hearing the tapes over and over, the husband was listening, and it reprogrammed his subconscious mind as well. And it said it made no difference whether he believed in the self-talk or not. His subconscious mind didn't care. It simply acted on the new information he was unconsciously programming in. So without even thinking about it, accepting the new, more positive programming, which was in the background, become the reality. To me, that is powerful. I mean, if you're struggling with anything, even weight, maybe you're not taking your Plexus products consistently. Make that an affirmation. If you do crave sugar, if you do still struggle to lose weight and you've been on the products a while and you feel like you're doing all you can do, make an affirmation about that. Put that in there. I absolutely have no cravings for sugar. I drop weight so easily, it's mind-blowing. I notice every day inches falling off with very little effort. I consistently take my Plexus products without an afterthought, and I've never felt better. Just put some of those on there and see what happens. What do we have to lose, right? Page 134, he talks about here's a huge advantage of voice recording this, guys. It says the first and most important advantage is that you can listen as you're doing other stuff. You don't even really have to listen. Your subconscious mind will be busily programming in the positive new information that you've given it without you even thinking about it or trying. So that, to me, that's the best news of all. What that's going to do is that's going to start replacing all that silent self-talk. Don't you think, Helen? You're going to be reprogramming all that silent background stuff, see? Oh, it's huge. It's huge. So, and on 135, he says it again. Of all the ways to talk to yourself, listening to yourself, just putting it in the player, pushing a button, let it play. Your subconscious mind will be listening whether you are or not. Wow. I mean, that's all I have to say about that. I am just convinced that this is going to unlock a lot for a lot of people if they will make it a habit. And I think the next chapters we cover next week, the first one is changing habits. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. I know that's just the thing, it's like now I say it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. So now we know this stuff is so powerful. So what are we going to do really truly to take this book seriously and just take it to the next level and apply it? Because I look at it as like an experiment, it's like, why wouldn't you want to try this? And especially if you've been stuck in your business for a while and you recognize that this is an issue for you, just look at it as a new experiment and just like attack it from that angle and get excited about it instead of thinking, because that's the self-talk, this, I don't know, this is so new. It's kind of, I don't know, what has any of us got to lose by trying it? I'm excited too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Chapter 15, whatever your need or position in life. So there's just a lot of different, ways ideas he talked about as far as depending on your situation, like self-talk can apply to just about anything, obviously, everything. But I love this. It makes no difference what you do for a living, what your educational background is, what your problems may be, or what your goals are. It doesn't matter whether you have succeeded or failed in the past. Self-talk works the same for everyone. The workings of the human brain are completely indifferent to your station in life. Anyone can use self-talk and benefit from its results. So I just highlighted and starred some things that I thought were relevant to discuss with you all tonight about on page 139, if you want to earn more money or improve your financial stability. I think that's worth really, obviously, all of us. Our deserve level is so important. If you want to earn more, you have to start seeing yourself as worthy, deserving, and capable and willing, and by redirecting yourself to do so. Too many of us, when we want to increase our earnings, make the mistake of tackling the problem from the wrong end. We try to figure out how we can earn more money before we believe we are capable of it. So we have to believe that we are worthy of being a diamond. That God didn't put a dream in your heart to see you fail and want to make you fail. And so this is where it's really important that, this is part of your self-talk. If you don't feel worthy that you could ever really make $40,000 a month or whatever, then work on that in your self-talk. I am worthy. You got to like break it down, like he said, do it the right way so you can then have that deserve level. If you're serious about wanting to increase your income, begin by giving yourself 3 weeks of self-talk for self-worth and financial worth. Then set your goals and write your plan. So think about that. When you determine who you really are inside and what you're really capable of accomplishing, it's much easier to see what to do next. Start with your programming, the rest will follow. I thought the whole raising children, we've talked about that, is really critical. A lot of us have kids still at home and the impact that you can have on your self-talk. And he talked about imagining a home in which 1 or 2 children was allowed and encouraged to listen to and learn positive self-talk. And then, compared to a child who didn't, and how that child would, make better choices with friends. Obviously which one would succeed better in school and his friendships and sports and social and all that kind of stuff. And that was just a really good visual to have. On page 142, I starred the simple words and important results. I thought this story was really profound because it talks about just the baby steps needed. And it was somebody who couldn't, get a job interview, and we discover she never even picked up the phone to try to get an interview. And all he told her to do was just to make that first call, just to dial that first set of numbers. And, we know, and I thought that was so relevant for us. It's like, who's on our chicken list? who do we have on our list still that we haven't reached out to in Plexus or called or invited to an event? And, I think the minute you have that one person that really intimidates you, that you can just do it. Just do it for that one person. What can happen to your confidence? Whether they say no or yes or whatever, it's just the doing of it, and that it's not as hard. Nobody died. We always say, did you die? What's the main fear here? We worried about what other people are going to think. I mean, get over it. Who cares, right? It could change their life. So I thought that was really cool, because then by the time she finished, she had an interview. I think she called back to the show and she had an interview scheduled for the next morning, and it's just so cool. I love that. I started on page 144. If you want to reach goals, setting good goals is one of the most important means to achieving them I have ever found. Setting goals and working at reaching them is part and parcel to becoming healthy, wealthy, and wise. Worthy goals are essential to true and lasting fulfillment. All this kind of stuff is great. I mean, it just applies to everything. On page 148, the opportunities to use self-talk are unlimited, and that applies then to all areas of your life. So wherever, maybe we should all just write down the areas that we feel we are pretty good at, our strengths, and then the weaknesses, and really trying to kind of fine-tune where we need to hone in on our self-talk, and then what we need to say, and make an empowering statement to counter whatever that fear is and what our goal is. So that's, just really putting it into action, applying it in the important compartments of your life that you feel it's really needed most. Because again, this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. It's just going to become something that we are going to do on a daily basis. And so to really prioritize and figure out where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, or where it's going to have the most impact, and pertaining to obviously all of us in our Plexus business. But I think the whole deserve level is huge, you guys. It's just huge. You have to really believe that you're worthy and you're deserving, and that God didn't just put this dream in your heart to see you not ever achieve it, truly. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Sonia.
Good stuff. I'll just recap just a couple things, because it's you've covered everything. It's amazing, and there's so much in here. What I'm just going to say about chapter 15 is, and I'm just going to kind of tell you that I saw a movie tonight. If you haven't seen Joy, go see it. It's about a woman entrepreneur. It's the true story. It's so good. And of course, it's a true story, and it must be good, or it must have a happy ending. So I'm not spoiling a movie to tell you it has a happy ending, but, it brought me to page 140, where it talks about children are closer to the original potential we were born with until we become programmed to believe what we cannot do. As children, we are still willing to believe in what we can do. Wow. And so, that's why, so this movie, when she was young, she had all these dreams. Pardon me?
You were cutting out when you were talking about the movie, so I just want to make sure people know you saw Joy. Because you were kind of in and out. So the movie's Joy.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yes, it was the movie Joy. And I just want you to know that, she talked about, like when she was a child, they showed she had all these dreams. Like she had this cute little box of things that she had made up. She was very creative. So she had all these dreams, and she thought she could do anything. And she talks about that when she's like 7 or 8, maybe 10. And then everything falls apart, and you'll see, if you need to go see the movie, and you'll understand why it falls apart. So it falls apart, and so as an adult, she's striving. She still has that dream. See, when God gives you that dream as a child, and you have it, and she knew she wanted to be something great. I won't tell you the details, but she knew specifically. She wanted to do something amazing, and I'm not going to tell you, but she knew specifically, kind of, pretty much what she wanted to do. Well, over the years, life got in the way. just a very dysfunctional family situation. And you'll see the movie and it will relate to a lot of you because you opened up and told us a lot of your dysfunctional situations. It's going to relate to a lot of you. So that's good. And I was going, wow, wow, wow. Boy, I thought I had some, crazy family situations. Boy, boy, boy. So all that got in the way. But she still had a dream. Now, let me say this. Her grandmother was the person who believed in her. She had one person who breathed that belief. The words she would say to her, you can do this. You had a dream when you were a kid. You could. So she was, every now and then, she was hearing that. And it was stirring up that emotion. So she pursued her dream, finally pursued her dream. And she had so many disappointments. And I'm telling you guys, at one point in the movie, it was so bad that I can't say that I would not have given up. I mean, it was so bad. Well, she gave up for about a day. And she did. She gave up for about a day, and I would have too. But she still had it so deep in her that she did not give up. She did not quit on herself. And she of course, won in the end. The movie ends amazing. But there was so many good points to this movie. It was like, we cannot
part of their assignment.
do what? Yes. Well, and I understand not everyone can just go out and go to a movie, but if you can get to that movie this week, it would really be that movie and the movie Creed. Both, I could have had a notebook and took so many notes on lessons and principles to teach on. Creed was also simply amazing. And he said, it's a fighting movie, it's a boxing movie, and it's not a true story. And he said in the ring, he said he was down to where, he just kept pushing. It kept going to the next round, kept going to the next round. They kept wanting to end the fight. And he, bloody, swollen, he shouldn't have been fighting. He said, I want to do it to prove I was not a mistake because of his past. And so it's like that will always eat at us. Our past will always eat at us. But we have to take on the word overcomer. We have to make that our word this year. I'm an overcomer. And if you have to make half of your affirmations with that word in it, I am an overcomer. I am bold and confident. I overcome every obstacle that comes my way, and it feels awesome to be victorious. Let that be like your theme this year. I want to see that for everyone, including myself. I have some new goals I'm excited about this week. So, I just want to kind of close with that inspiration. Helen, if you want to give the homework out, that would be great.
Okay, awesome. Can't wait to see it. All right, so your assignment, we're going to do chapters 16 through 19. And so that's going to be your assignment to read by next Sunday. Have 3 perfect plexus days. And then to apply what we just learned from chapters 11 through 15, we thought write out your self-talk and apply to one of the above that we discussed from chapter 14. So just apply it. You can apply it to more than one, but just at least one, because again, baby steps, and we just don't want all of you to get too overwhelmed. It's, a lot of it, like I said, it's going to be important for you to write the right ones, the ones that apply. But I love what Sonia said about, being victorious and being an overcomer. You can apply that to just any area that you're working on, in any of your self-talk. So, we'll put the assignments up on the group page. We'll print them out or write them out so you guys can see them again. And of course, we'll do a recording of this call. And so today or this week is a pretty big week in Plexus, Super Saturday. I'm going to assume every person on this.
Helen, I can't hear you. Okay, all right, now I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Went away for a while. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say just about Super Saturday, and all of you should be registered. Hopefully you got in. If your site got sold out, then, try to do something to make up for it, like maybe go see that movie or Creed, or, watch free on Netflix is the one from the Gifted Hands one. Just any kind of feel good, but hopefully you guys are all going. It's going to be a phenomenal Super Saturday. I mean, we are so excited as trainers what you guys are in for your 4 hours on Saturday. And hopefully you're all going to the opportunity meeting the night before as well. So it's going to be an exciting week for us in Plexus. Happy New Year. We love you guys. We're thrilled with this book. And just remember to apply, apply, apply. And so do the assignments and just believe that you can do it. And we're just, we're so hopeful that this is going to be such a big turnaround for so many of you, all of you, if you choose to do it.
Yeah, no more New Year's resolutions. You'll look back in a year and you will have overcome your fears. You will have overcome the battle within you. And I know it. I know it. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody. Love ya.
Love ya.